Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Todd Talk, a presentation of Oklahoma Baptist University's Department of Athletic Communications. Today, we talk women's volleyball with the reigning Great American Conference Coach of the Year, and we talk about the defending league champions, both in regular season and postseason, the Bison of Oklahoma Baptist University, and Anna Howell joins us. Coach, long time no see, and congratulations on a 28-win season last year that was by far and away the most successful the program's had since making the transition to Division II.
Thank you. We had a great year last year, and really sad that we didn't get to compete this fall, having everybody back. But they're working hard in the gym. I am loving seeing them every day, and I'm really looking forward to the first chance we get to compete.
As much success as you had, it's fair to say, though, there was a lot of unfinished business with this group, wasn't there? And I think that has created a hunger that you're seeing now spill over into a lot of uncertain times in this fall.
Yeah, definitely. I think they came back with that hunger of hoping to get to play, and they trained through the quarantine time, which, you know, it is really, I really commend them for doing, because it's really, really tough, but they came in great shape. They came in ready to go. So it was tough that we didn't get to have that fall season, but you're right. They have this mindset that we have more to prove. We have more to do. And I love that about this group.
What was the difference, Anna, last year for this group? Was it a matter of all the pieces just finally clicking? Because you had a losing record the year before. You go out and win 28 of your 34 games. You take a top 11 team to the brink on their home floor early in the season. You win 14 of 16 in conference play, a league that you were picked 7th in. And all of a sudden, you guys right now are sitting in the catbird spot. What was the difference in the 2 years and the turnaround quickly?
I definitely think it's the buy-in. You know, it's the buy-in of the team and their mindset and what they want to do, the culture that they create, who they are as a team. 2 totally different years. You know, there was a total lack of identity 2 years ago, and last year the identity was very, very set. And that's not one that I just get to pick and create, because obviously if coaches got to do that, they'd be awesome every year. But we had the buy-in of the girls that were returning that wanted to be something great. They weren't okay with just having fun, and they wanted to define fun by working for success, enjoying the process, the hard work, the growth, the team. They wanted to define their success differently, and with their buy-in for what we wanted for their success and what they wanted for success came together. And when you get to that point of high expectations for your team and they want to meet those expectations, that's when you get that collision of you and them at the same time is what creates success.
Well, you tell me if you agree with this. I saw you play a couple of times last year, and I've been to several volleyball matches over time, so I'm kind of familiar with what the bench looks like or doesn't look like. I thought it was an all-for-one, one-for-all mentality. It looked like the girls that weren't out there with the floor were just as excited for their teammates' success on the floor as if it had happened to themselves during a game competition.
That's exactly right. You know, we always are trying to help the girls understand their role, but every member of the team is important. The people that are on the floor and the people that are off the floor are the ones training the people that are on the floor. So if the people that aren't playing are at a high level, that's how they're getting the people on the floor to be a high level. And for us, the different personalities that are a part of our team, whether there's 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, or 30 people, everybody has something very important to contribute. And I think people understanding that role and the importance of who they are as a person to each team contributes to the chemistry so that it is an all-for-one mentality. And that's exactly where we want to be.
You and I have talked about this in the past. What does the Great American Conference need to do as a whole? And I think the league from top to bottom is much better maybe than it's been in a long time. But what do they need to do to take that next step regionally and nationally? Because it seems like the postseason tournament champion is always slotted as the number 8 seed in the regional. Mm-hmm. What needs to take place for that mentality to change across the region?
I think we definitely need to play more of those games and win more of those games. We have to be seen to get respect. And I think, you know, the team least underestimating us last year was Kearney. And, you know, we tried to go back to their tournament in the fall, which of course they didn't have it, but we weren't the first people that they wanted to come to their tournament. And that's the kind of mindset that we have to give across the board in the Great American Conference. We have to make sure, you know, Kearney's going to be a great team this year, but we have to go as the Great American Conference and take some of our top teams and push some of these other teams. We absolutely have to get involved with the Northern Sun, and we spend some time playing the MIAA schools, but we have to be consistently good. We can't just take off breaks and lose 3-0 matches. We have to go in and challenge these teams to earn their respect. And until we do that, you know, we don't deserve to become higher unless we can go in and challenge them. And I think we can. I definitely think the Great American Conference has improved. We have some teams in our conference now that are excellent, and we have in the past, but our top 3, 4, 5 need to be able to challenge their top 3, 4, 5. You know, I think that really has to happen for us to earn respect, and I think we're very, very close. It's hard because I think a lot of us did have some plans to go out and try to get some wins against some of those teams this year, but you know, Corona.
Oklahoma Baptist volleyball coach Anna Howell is our guest here on this edition of Todd Talk. Anna, you grew up in a different part of the country. You grew up in an area where volleyball is really a sacred sport. I mean, it's taken very, very seriously. Have you seen in your time in Oklahoma, I mean, you played at OU, now you've been at OVU since 2008. Have you started to see the mindset of this part of the country change a little bit towards maybe making volleyball more of a priority?
I have. I think that it's definitely grown. You know, I coached prior to coming to OBU. I coached at Carl Albert High School, which we actually have one of our players is coaching there, or our former players is coaching there now, which is cool. But, and I've watched her, you know, and just kind of seen how it's developed across Oklahoma. And I do think it's definitely improving and the level of play is improving, but, you know, we're still like the 46th recruitable state. And I think that has to do with, you know, one of our prime sports for girls in Oklahoma is softball. And we're one of very few states that softball season is in the fall. So having, you know, in most states you get to, where I grew up in Wisconsin, most of our girls played volleyball in the fall and softball in the spring. And those sports weren't competitive for athletes in the same season. And so I think that's part of what is tough in Oklahoma is those athletes, in my opinion, those athletes should cross over. We should, and softball players. But because of how those seasons fall in high school, it does make it harder for it to be a flagship sport in Oklahoma. But you know, volleyball is is the number one sport for girls in a lot of parts of the country. And I hope that Oklahoma continues to grow because there are some very good athletes in Oklahoma.
It's probably never going to happen, but wouldn't it be nice for there to be some changes amongst the regions? Because the region you're in, the Central region, is basically as good, if not better, than the NCAA Division II women's volleyball tournament. I mean, and I know you don't just feel that way. There's good teams that could win a national title that don't even get out of the regional every year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it happened to Arkansas Tech a couple of years ago. You know, they were undefeated, and then they go in the first game they play is against the eventual national champion. So, you know, I think that is really, really tough to have that regional like that. You know, I love to play great volleyball and I love to play those great teams, but you know, you have a bunch of teams that are in the top 20, top 10 in the country, and they all beat each other out in the first round. You know, that makes it really, really tough. I don't know if re-regionalization is ever going to happen. It also seems silly that we wouldn't just travel to Dallas and we'd have to travel to Minnesota. Mm-hmm. But the re-regionalization is something that, you know, Division II, I know that they've discussed it, but regionalization is tough, especially in the sport of volleyball, especially if you're in the Central region.
I want to revisit last year's 28-6 season for just a moment. Mm-hmm. You got off to a little bit of a slow start. After you lost to Dallas Baptist in mid-September, and you're grinning because I know you were really unhappy about that loss. You lost in 5 sets. You only went on to lose 2 more regular season games. Was that the point where everything kind of clicked with you and the team as the goals that still are within reach for this program?
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily the loss to Dallas Baptist. That was a very frustrating situation for our team, but also a great learning moment. I know Malia did not play very well in that DBU game, and for her, it was, we had a lot of conversations from that point and got her to be a lot more steady after that. So, I think each loss is a great learning moment. I think that we really started to see where we could be when we beat UCO. I think that was earlier in that week that we beat UCO, and they really kind of felt like this is what we can do. So we need to try to do it. But there are going to be some highs, or a lot of highs, and maybe a few lows, but that low we sure learned from. And I think that really came through when it got tense, when we were playing at Northwestern at that final GAC match that we really needed to win to stay in the #1 seed. And I think that DBU match ended up really helping us in that Northwestern match, just keeping our heads, keeping steady. And I think I'm really proud of how we bounced back right after that DBU loss.
I want to talk about Malia Leatherland. She was your best player last year. In fact, she was the best player in the Great American Conference, according to the coaches, was named the League Player of the Year. What makes her so special?
She works hard. And there's a lot of girls out there that work extremely hard, and she is very intentional about what she does. And I think, for her, she has a passion to get better at all of the parts of her game. She can hit hard, very hard, and very, very well as a hitter. But she's passionate about defense. She's passionate about blocking. She really wants to be a really great overall, all-around player. But I think probably one of the best parts about Malia is she is a great teammate. She's absolutely one of the most fun people, easiest people to play with. And she makes other people want to step up because she wants to grow you as a player, grow you as a person. She really cares. And she's a huge piece of our team chemistry because she doesn't not include anybody in that process of wanting to grow and get better and learn and be close to. I mean, she has a real heart for the Lord, and she carries that into her team and has a real heart for all of the girls on her team. And that's probably one of the most special things about her.
So what you're saying is that, yes, she's your best player. She's the best player, arguably, in the Great American Conference, but her value may go behind spikes. Is that correct? It's what a leader she is and an example to younger players. So look, this girl's reached the pinnacle at our level, but yet she continues to work like she still has a long ways to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was so proud to be an All-American. We were so proud of her last year, but she doesn't want to stop at being an All-American. And it has never been about how she can be an All-American. It has always been about how well she can help her team, how much she can help her team for them to do well. And that's the true testament to a great player, because we always say every time, like, you've got to learn how to be a winner, not you winning for yourself and attaining all of these statistical goals, which we give her statistical goals that we want her to reach to give her a lot of perspective on how she needs to perform. But all of that for her is not how she's going to perform so that she can become an All-American. It's how she's going to perform so that her team can be successful, and so can the other people around her.
Anna Howell, volleyball coach at OBU, our guest on this edition of Todd Talk. Anna, you've got a veteran club coming back, almost everybody from last year's 28-6 conference championship team. How important is it to have that veteran presence when you're going through a season of such uncertainty? Well, we may play in the fall. No, we're not going to play in the fall. We might play in the spring. How valuable has the upperclassmen been for you?
Oh, they have been just a treasure. I don't know how else to say it. They have, not only do they have a mindset of coming in and being good themselves, but we have a lot of new freshmen this year. Mm-hmm. And with all of our new freshmen, I didn't want this senior class to leave without being able to teach our freshmen the importance of being great teammates, being great team members, and working towards a goal that is so important. And that is what they're teaching them. They're teaching them how to be great people. They're teaching them the standard that we have, the high expectations that we have, and how to achieve those. And without this group of seniors, that would be it's really hard to get a whole new group of people and teach them that without them learning from their teammates. And I'm just feeling so blessed that they're here. And, we have a lot of people in our gym, so we're able to play when we're able to play some 6-on-6, just from quarantine rule or Corona rules, when we're able to play 6-on-6, this is a very competitive environment. And our freshmen are learning very quickly what the expectations are and how to achieve them. So they're pushing the upperclassmen, but the upperclassmen embrace it because they realize that they're teaching and growing another group of people. And I'm just very, very proud of our upperclassmen.
With the new rules and restrictions, talk us through what fall's been like. I mean, your practice schedule, because you can't obviously practice like you normally would during the season.
You're right. So we've been doing 10 minutes of 6-on-6 and 10 minutes of drill work where we're socially distant with masks. So our girls have been really good about that. You know, we have a couple girls that we've now had in 1 day of practice just because they were either quarantined based on being on a contact list or they had it. And so we've missed out on some really big time kids for us this fall, but they're hungry to be back. So I'm really, really excited about that. But I can tell you one thing, OBU volleyball is the ultimate circle kickball team at OBU right now. So by nature, I guess I'm a connector is what we've been doing some leadership training, and I'm a connector. And as a connector, I wanted to start kickball competition with different teams across campus. And we've played lacrosse a bunch of times. We've played women's basketball, and we just played track yesterday, and we played tennis. So we're currently undefeated. So the fall has looked a lot different, but we are super competitive and training as a circle kickball team a couple days a week. So, you know, I think it's important to compete and love to win, and they're there.
When you've not been playing circle kickball, apparently you've been raising some funds. By the way, congratulations. The new locker room looks fabulous. Tell us about that process, how the idea came about, and you guys did it basically all on your own.
Yes. So since I've been here, I've done a lot of different initiating our fundraising type things, which our girls have been involved every step of the way. And really, we've had money that we've saved every year since I've been here, since 2008, that everybody in our program has helped raise those funds. I feel a little bit bad for the ones that, you know, had to do all those fundraising things that I gave them, bake sales or tournaments or clinics. And they don't get to just enjoy the new locker room, but I know that they're happy for the girls that have it. And they've really worked hard to help us fundraise, and we've done a lot of different things, creative things. We knew we needed a new locker room. I've even had, you know, some of the girls in the past have painted stuff for us and all of that to try to keep it kind of nice, but it was time. And we, you know, over the time that I've been here, everybody has really bought into that. Let's make the program better. And I'm just so thankful. It's beautiful, and we just love it.
You have to be so thrilled with where this program is. I think we're going to look back, and 2019 is going to be the turning point for OBU volleyball, don't you, on the Division II level?
Yeah, I really think so. You know, I knew it would take us some time moving from the NAI into Division II to figure out what we needed to look like. But but now that we know, I don't want to turn back. I just want to put my foot on the pedal and keep moving forward.
Okay, Anna, what does your schedule look like? Obviously, you're not going to play now in the fall. What are you hearing from the league and from athletic directors and presidents as to what type of season, if any, you'll have?
Yeah, as of right now, we think we're going to start practice in the middle of January and be able to play 10 games, and those will all be against the Oklahoma schools. So we'll play home and away versus all of our Oklahoma side. And at the end of that, we'll pick our top 4 from Oklahoma. They'll get the top 4 from Arkansas, and we'll put together our conference tournament and name a champion.
What does that do eligibility-wise? Because I know that's something you worry about. You have a lot of upperclassmen on this team, including a lot of last year's juniors that are now our seniors. Are they going to burn a year of eligibility for a handful of games, or how's that going to work out?
Yeah, no, the NCAA has come out with legislation that basically they will not burn a year. So we don't have the championship. The national championship is not a part of it. And so they will not burn a year based on how many games they play. It doesn't matter. So we can play, you know, but I think a lot of that is going to be what we can financially cover, how many games we can financially cover, and what what the league and the athletic directors decide to give us. But at this time, knowing that we're going to be able to play 10 matches in a conference tournament has us very excited. It's going to, I've learned so much as a coach through this process about who I want to be as far as a little bit more caring as a coach, a little bit more connecting, and the different ways that I can do that. And I think, with the 10 games, we're going to play 1 game a week for 10 weeks. So what that excites me a little bit is the learning and the preparation that I'll be able to do going into each match, not having to play so many matches in a week. So I am looking forward to parts of that I think that will help continue to grow me as a coach and grow our program.
I know that you're still a ways out before that drop dead deadline of the seniors saying, hey, we're going to come back. But for your own peace of mind and for recruiting for future Bison, haven't you already started to at least plant the seeds in these girls' minds and say this is something that you need to think about and we will firmly address it at a later date?
Yeah, we've talked. I've addressed it with a couple of them. I know there are some that have kind of told me that their path is leading them right to graduation. Some of them are starting grad school and have already been accepted. There's some people that I know will not be able to return. But they're such good leaders. How could you not want them for that extra time? And we're in conversation with some of them about it. But I'm also not trying to pressure them too much because I know that some of them are ready to move to the next stage of life. But I want to be good in 21.
I don't blame you. My advice, don't rush growing up, right?
That's right. Don't rush growing up.
Play volleyball as long as you can, because one of these days you won't be able to do that. So.
I know. That's true.
Hey, congratulations, Anna. Great season last year. We'll look forward to seeing you in the spring. Congratulations on all you're doing on Bison Hill.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anna Howe, the volleyball coach since 2008 at Oklahoma Baptist, is our guest on this week's edition of Todd Talk. We'll see you again next time for another edition of Todd Talk, a presentation of Oklahoma Baptist University's Department of Athletic Communications.